Naidu's formula for aging demography. Naidu bags 2 and more kids for local poll eligibility.
ఇప్పుడు కొత్త చట్టం అది చేశాను, మళ్ళా ఒక చట్టం తీసుకొస్తున్నా. ఇద్దరు కంటే పైన పిల్లలు ఉంటేనే మీకు పోటీ కరువులు. మీరు ఇప్పుడు ఇదే మారిగా భవిష్యత్తులో మీ ఇంట్లో ఎక్కువ మంది ఉంటేనే ప్రభుత్వ సహాయం కూడా ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది.
Stalins have more children remark. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister cites reducing number of voters.
அன்னைக்கு நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியெல்லாம் குறையும் என்ற நிலை வருகிற போது ஏன் அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழ வேண்டும் என்று நாமும் 16 குழந்தைகளை பெற்றுக் கொள்ளலாமே என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய நிலை இன்றைக்கு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது.
More kids clamor in South. That is our top focus on 6 PM Prime.
Hello and welcome. Good evening. You're watching 6 PM Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. In the southern states of the country, there's now a growing debate over the demography of the population and whether there's a need to actually boost the population numbers in the states in South India. Now, at a time when we've always spoken about overpopulation in the country, is this really the need of the hour? I'll explain to you why Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu is pitching for families to have more children, why Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin is also pitching for the same for completely different reasons. You're watching 6 PM Prime. There's a growing clamour in the southern states from no less than the chief ministers of some of these states like Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu saying there's a need to ensure that our population numbers in these states go up. Why is that? Because so far you've always heard about talk of India having far too many numbers, of India having a problem of overpopulation. And yet, the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has touched upon a very pertinent point while talking about aging population, the aging demography of Andhra Pradesh and of several other southern states as well. And therefore has urged people to have more children. So much so that he says that while you've heard of incentivizing people who have 2 or less than 2 children, now going forward, we may just bring forward a legislation that ensures that those who have 2 children and more are the only ones who can contest local body elections. This, as of now, is a proposal. It's an idea. But will Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu actually put it in motion? On the other hand, a day later, you have Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin speaking about the same issue, saying that like olden times, maybe families should be larger now. He said it for completely different reasons, speaking about the entire proposed delimitation and saying that our parliamentary constituencies are going to become smaller. And so maybe if our population goes up, you'll have a bigger say.
Hum Do Hamare Do, a 1960s campaign to push for family planning. Today the tables have turned and political leaders are making a pitch for Hum Do Hamare Anek, essentially 2 of us and many of us. In the south, a raging debate is on over the demography of the states and the aging population in many states. Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu is at the core of this debate after he made an open pitch for larger families, even hinting that his government could consider incentivizing the same. The reason Naidu has expressed concern over Andhra Pradesh's population not being young enough and how the few who are left are moving out.
ఒకప్పుడు 2 పిల్లల కంటే ఎక్కువ ఉంటే పంచాయతీల్లో కంటెస్ట్ పోటీ చేయడానికి వీలు లేదు, మున్సిపాలిటీలో పోటీ చేయడానికి వీలు లేదు, కోఆపరేటివ్ ఎలక్షన్స్ పోటీ చేయడానికి వీలు లేదు. ఇప్పుడు కొత్త చట్టం అది చేశాను, మళ్ళా ఒక చట్టం తీసుకొస్తున్నా. 2 కంటే పైన పిల్లలు ఉంటేనే మీకు పోటీ కరువులు. మీరు ఇప్పుడు 2 కంటే తక్కువ పిల్లలుంటే మీరు పోటీకి అర్హత లేదు. ఇదే మారిగా భవిష్యత్తులో మీ ఇంట్లో ఎక్కువ మంది ఉంటేనే ప్రభుత్వ సహాయం కూడా ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది.
And it is not just Andhra Chief Minister. Curiously enough, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Stalin has also made a similar pitch, albeit for different reasons. Stalin has spoken of larger families while highlighting how constituencies could shrink in light of delimitation talks.
அந்த 16 செல்வங்களை பற்றி வாழுங்கள் தான் அன்றைக்கு வாழ்த்தினார்கள். இப்போ யாரும் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா 16 செல்வங்களை பற்றி வாழுங்கள் வாழ்த்துறது இல்லை. அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழுங்கள் என்று சொல்லுதான். ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நாடாளுமன்ற தொகுதியெல்லாம் குறையும் என்ற நிலை வருகிற போது ஏன் அளவோடு பெற்று வளமோடு வாழ வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லும் நாமும் 16 குழந்தைகளை பெற்றுக் கொள்ளலாமே என்று சொல்லக்கூடிய நிலை இன்றைக்கு உணர்வு வந்திருக்கிறது. அதையும் நாம் மறந்துவிடக்கூடாது.
Will this lead to now more South states seriously considering a population push? The Telangana government is thinking along Naidu's lines.
Must this kind of law be implemented or bought in this state as well?
Yes, that should be implemented in Telangana also, because nowadays so many people are losing their opportunities to participate in the local body elections because of this issue. So everybody should have some choices and rights to participate in the local body elections. The Telangana government also thinking like this action. So I hope respected CM Revanth Reddy will implement this one also in here.
Is there a need for governments of South states to now bring in legislations to boost population numbers? Is addressing the aging India crisis the need of the hour? Bureau Report, India Today.
So what is really being proposed in these two states at least? Yes, there should be perhaps a larger discussion on this if you look at the numbers in Kerala, in Karnataka, in Telangana as well, which we'll get you in just a bit. But what about Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh? Considering that the chief ministers have spoken about it, are we going to be seeing any steps in this regard? Joining me is Pramod Madhav, who's joining us from Chennai. We've also got Abdul Bashir getting us the latest from Hyderabad. Abdul, I'm going to begin with you to focus first on Andhra Pradesh and Chief Minister Naidu not just speaking about the need for changing the aging demography of Andhra Pradesh, but also speaking about bringing in a legislation. How serious is he, Abdul? Is this something that's feasible, that's probable in Andhra?
Well, yes, showing concern about the dropping fertility rate in the state of Andhra Pradesh and mostly the southern states. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu mentioning that the average fertility rate in the country, which is 2.1, but in the southern states, what we see is the drop of fertility rate that is 1.6 here, and this is due to most of the youth in the states either migrating to other states or abroad after their studies. So now this is a major concern is what Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu had said. He also mentioned that several villages in Andhra Pradesh are left with only elderlies, and this is a concerning point. However, we are at a demographic advantage till 2047 with a population, with a youth population in the country. But after 2047, there will only be a significant portion of elderlies, which will be a very impactful atmosphere then. And this is he related it to the countries like China, Japan, and other European countries which are now facing this kind of problem. Now, what he mentioned is a new law will be brought in, new legislation will be brought in, wherein people who have more than 2 kids will be eligible to contest local body polls, and also larger families will be given larger incentives. He also recalled his 10 years back statement where he had urged people not to have more than 2 kids at that point when the demographic advantage was different. Now, showing concern, he had asked people to have more kids, more than 2 kids, to get the advantages from the government, and that is also going to
you've got a different reason. You've got a different reason being cited in Tamil Nadu, which is, and I'll bring in Pramod Madhav on this. Pramod, if you look at the context with which Chief Minister Stalin has said what he said, it's very, very different. The timing of it, of course, with the Andhra Chief Minister is what's made it headlines. But Chief Minister Stalin is referring to perhaps delimitation when he says your parliamentary constituencies are becoming smaller. So it's with that context, essentially, that he is talking about families growing larger in the state of Tamil Nadu. So unlikely, really, that like Andhra, there'll be any talk of a legislation per se in Tamil Nadu, Pramod.
Well, absolutely, Akshita. The very interesting fact here is that he also chose a proper, a stage for this particular conversation, because there were 31 couples who got married, and it was actually arranged by Hindu Religious and Endowment Board, HRNC, Charitable Endowment. And what he went ahead and said, just like you mentioned, it said it looked like some kind of unacceptable frustration that the Chief Minister made this comment about, because already DMK has passed a kind of resolution in the State Assembly against the delimitation that has been proposed. And he says that if that delimitation delimitation is brought in, the representation from the southern states will shrink, and that's the reason DMK and its allies actually opposed it. The interesting factor here is that the way he actually put it forward, saying that earlier, the couples, once they get wed, they were actually being blessed to get 16 forms of wealth. That was confused with 16 children, and then he said that it became a nuclear task where it was said, have appropriate children and live a prosperous life. But it looks like the situation has once again come up for us to have 16 children. Definitely, it looks like he's actually targeting at the delimitation process, because it is being said that once it is implemented, Tamil Nadu will lose a lot of constituencies. We have 39 so far. That will be shrunk very badly, and the representation of the southern states will be lost. This was what DMK is saying, and this seems to be what the Chief Minister was trying to make a point on this, Akshita.
Okay, so clearly there is also a lot of politics involved in what Chief Minister Stalin has said, and to drive essentially a point across to the central government. Pramod, Abdul, thanks very much for joining us with those details. Now, if you speak about the point made by Andhra Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu, is there really a crisis as far as population composition is concerned in the country? Let's just take a look at some of the data from southern states of whether your crisis of an aging demography is actually true. That combined with a lowering fertility rate. Here are the numbers on our screens. The first column there is the percentage of 60-plus population, a percentage of a senior citizen population. And the second column, as you can see, is the fertility rate. Now, in Andhra Pradesh, and these are just the south states here, in Andhra Pradesh, you've got a 12.4% of 60-plus population, which is high. If you compare it to other states, the fertility rate is at 1.7%, and it's bad for Andhra because it is one of, if you look at area-wise, one of the largest states in the country, and yet at 1.7%, and you'll see this in most of the southern states, and you compare it to other states of the country, it is low. Kerala, of course, as we know, has been having and grappling with this crisis of an aging demography, and that's largely because the youth of Kerala have all moved over to the Gulf. So it's the older generation that remains in the state of Kerala, something that the Kerala government has previously gone on record to also acknowledge, which is why if you compare to the other states, Kerala has the highest at 16.5% of a senior citizen population, of a population above 60 years of age. The fertility rate at Kerala is at 1.8%. And remember, Kerala is much smaller than Andhra Pradesh. The state of Tamil Nadu, here you've got, in fact, the senior citizen population at 13.6% and the fertility rate at 1.8%. Now, if Chief Minister Stalin would have it his way, he'd want that particular number, fertility rate, to actually change, to go up. Let's take a look at Telangana and Karnataka as well. Telangana, the senior citizen population at a percentage of 11%. Similar in Karnataka at 11.5. Again, the fertility rate hovering between 1.5 to 2, 1.8 and 1.7 respectively. So these are the numbers of the southern states. How does this really weigh when compared to other states of the country? Why is it that we're having a conversation today only about the southern states, in Andhra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and whatnot, about the aging demography, about the fertility rate? Take a look at these numbers of how other states in the country do. The national capital, for example, the fertility rate is at 1.6%. Just compare the size of Delhi to an Andhra Pradesh, to a Karnataka, and yet Delhi is pretty much at par with those states. Gujarat is at 1.9%. Remember, states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, they're all some of the largest in the country, some of the largest states, and yet their numbers are much higher than an Andhra, than a Karnataka, which also will figure in the same list of the largest states by area. Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, you can see that it's 2+% really of the fertility rate. If you look at it, Maharashtra is at 1.7%. Now, Meghalaya, Punjab, etc. also come lower down in the list. Meghalaya, interestingly, is at 2.9 if you look at the fertility rate. So you look at this particular chart and all the states listed here, you can see how the numbers are different for the southern states. It's much lower, the fertility rate. That also, of course, has to do with literacy rates. But the crisis really comes in. And what Chandrababu Naidu is referring to here is the fact that you have a low fertility rate coupled with an aging demography, because your youngsters are moving out, and what Chandrababu Naidu is referring to is that perhaps in the years to come, you're going to be seeing a crisis much like what you see in many European countries, much like what you see in Japan, where there are now all-out crisis measures being taken by the government to ensure that they boost fertility and boost family measures as well. Will that be a reality very soon in India? Chandrababu Naidu very much thinks so and wants to plan right now to ensure that you don't see a crisis in the country where an aging population is what you're grappling with and a very, very low fertility rate. We will continue, of course, getting you all the reactions on the story and what each state has to say about this. But let's move on now to another big story that we've been tracking today. There was an explosion that took place in the national capital, in Delhi's Rohini area, that led to a lot of questions. This happened on Sunday morning at about 7:30, right in front of a school, the CRPF school. Now, there are questions being asked of who, why, what. We don't have any of the answers right now. Who did it? We don't know. What kind of an explosive was used? We still don't know. Why was this done? Again, no answers at this point. The Delhi police is investigating this particular blast, the CCTV footage of which is on your screens as well. There are questions about whether there was an attempt to send across a warning, a message. This was done at 7 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday to ensure there were no casualties. But who really is behind this warning, if that's what it is? Let's get you all the latest in our report.
A terrifying blast shaking North Delhi's Rohini on Sunday. A deafening sound, a massive plume of white smoke. And now there is mystery over the real motive and use of explosive. The blast left a gaping hole in the exterior wall of the CRPF school.
आज जो सीआरपीएफ की ये टीम है वो बकायदा आई है इंची टेप लेकर जो मापा जा रहा है। कैमरामैन इमामुल को कहूंगा कि जरा करीब आकर ये दिखाएं कि किस तरीके से जो इंची टेप है ये लेकर जो ब्लास्ट साइट है जहां पर ये विस्फोट हुआ था, काफी शक्तिशाली ये विस्फोट था, तो इंची टेप से बकायदा उसको नापा जा रहा है।
Cops are probing if the blast was a dry run for a larger attack. Forensic teams are scanning the white residue left behind by the bomb. Probe agencies are also intrigued by the lack of timer devices and absence of electronic parts, which has given rise to fear of a new kind of triggering device being used for IEDs.
अच्छा, सीसीटीवी भी आया, उसमें देख रहे हैं कि जब धमाका हुआ तो मतलब वो काफी तेजी से सब कुछ हिल गया।
सब कुछ हिल गया, बिल्डिंग अंदर तक की कोठी हिल गई।
पुलिस ने आपसे बातचीत करी?
नहीं, पुलिस ने, पुलिस वालों ने पूछा तो एक ने बता दिया मैंने।
The bomb kept away from crowd was possibly a message and not a bid to kill or maim. While a probe is yet to ascertain the role of any particular group, a pro-Khalistan handle on Telegram tried to claim role in the attack. Delhi police is in touch with Telegram for more details on the handle Justice League India.
The reports from the FSL after they collected the exhibits yesterday is still awaited. But as of now, what we do know about the blast is that it did cause a sound and an intensity as such, which also resulted in glasses breaking in shops opposite the road and also the cars standing adjoining. Delhi police continues its investigation. However, an arrest officially is yet to be made in the matter.
Cops are hunting for the planter who may have been caught on CCTV. A multi-agency probe including NIA, NSG, Delhi Police Crime Branch, CRPF is currently underway to nail the conspiracy. With Arvind Ojha and Shreya Chatterjee in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's get in a quick update from Shreya Chatterjee on this story. Shreya, good evening. Over 30 hours since the blast actually took place, and we still have no answers or leads for that matter, it looks like, on who's behind it or why they did it. Why is it taking so long for authorities to really nail down the suspect here?
Well, Akshita, it has to be put on that it's something which is a matter of great concern, especially because we're talking about a time in the national capital when the festive season is under its way. Here we have a blast that takes place in one of the prominent locations in Rohini. Over 30 hours passed and till now, Delhi police hasn't gone on.
Okay, apologies. We've got a bit of a problem there with Shreya's line. We'll get back to her in a bit for those updates on the investigation. But from what I could make out of what Shreya was saying, she was highlighting how grave this particular incident is. The fact that it's happened in the national capital, it will lead to questions about whether there's adequate security in Delhi and what was the motive. We will track the latest that comes in on the investigation. So far, the Delhi police haven't been able to provide really any answers on why this happened and who's behind it. Hello and welcome. You're watching India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, and joining me now is Somy Ali, actor, who's put up a post on social media that's got everyone talking on Lawrence Bishnoi. Somy, first of all, thank you very much for joining us here on India Today. I know you're joining us from far, far away from Miami. So thank you for taking the time out. Are you doing this purely because you want to understand the psyche of Lawrence Bishnoi, or does this stem from concern for Salman Khan? What really made you take to social media and put out this message?
It stems from zero concern for Salman Khan. It stems from concern of murder of Salman Khan. Because I do not believe I'm anti-death penalty and I'm anti-murder. Now, keep in mind, before we had DNA, which was discovered, a lot of innocent lives were lost in the United States of America. They were put to death and they happened to be innocent. When we discovered DNA, a lot of people were exonerated because they were innocent and they had not convicted the crimes. Similarly, now I am anti-death penalty, and I'm as concerned about Salman being hurt as I'm concerned about the man walking down on the street or my neighbor. And I do not want to have a conversation. I do not care about Salman. I do not have any feelings for him. I don't want to reunite with him. I don't want any publicity from him, or I don't want his money. I have my own money, and I run my NGO for the past 17 years. The last time I talked to Salman was in 2012. I haven't spoken to him in years. The only thing I do not want is that anyone should be murdered. Whatever happened to Mr. Baba Siddiqui, I want to wish my deepest condolences, my heartiest condolences to his family, his son Zishan. I'm very sorry, and your family, your extended family, they're in my thoughts and my prayers, and I'm very sorry that happened. I don't know who Baba Siddiqui is, but I'm very sorry. The same way I would be sorry if anyone else were to be killed. And
so then why this particular case? You know, you're saying that this has nothing to do with Salman Khan.
Because I know for certain.
Why that particular case then?
Because I know for certain that, first of all, Lawrence Bishnoi is not an idiot. He's claiming himself, he's trying to be famous and getting his own TRP by claiming himself a gangster. He's an idiot. He should claim and get TRP by claiming himself to be a LLB. He's an actual lawyer. I found out through research. He's an actual lawyer. Well, he's trying to get his own TRP by saying मैं gangster हूँ और मैं सबको मारता हूँ. He's an idiot. These are things you do when you're 17 and 20. You're 33 years old. Are you kidding me? Behave your age. And you have no right to kill people, because I can guarantee you, and I can give it to you in writing, that Salman did not know that the black buck was somewhat a deer that they worship, the Bishnoi tribe. I have been to hunting with Salman many times on outdoor shootings, and he stopped taking me. That particular 1998 shooting, he didn't take me because he said, you pray, and you pray out loud on purpose so animals run away, and you start coughing when you don't really have a cough on purpose so animals can run away because I don't like hunting as a sport. Some people like hunting as a sport, which is fine. It's to each their own. I don't like hunting as a sport. So on that, Hum Sab Saath, I think Saath Hai, yes, film, shooting that outdoor, he said, I'm not taking you because you cough, and then we never end up catching any animals. So every time I go on hunting with him, in the past I went, we never caught any animals. Strangely enough, the one time I didn't go, he ended up catching the animal. But I know this for a fact that Salman is a very kind person. He has an NGO, and he did not know that the black buck was worshipped and deemed their god. Did
he ever say that to you? Is that something you spoke about what happened? You weren't there, you said, but did you have a conversation with him back then about it? Did he tell you this? That
Absolutely. When he came back, and he said, listen, there are thousands. Do you think Salman Khan is the only person that goes hunting in that area? Outside of Salman Khan, a gazillion people probably go there hunting in that area. But because Salman Khan is Salman Khan, they're after him. Now, Salman does not know, and he told me he does not know that was something that was worshipped by the Bishnoi tribe. So the Bishnoi tribe needs to comprehend that. I apologized to Devender Bhai, who's the leader of the Bishnoi tribe. They did not accept my apology because they said Somy Ali did not shoot our god, and it was Salman. But what they don't understand is that Salman did not know. And I am a living, alive being witness of the fact that he told me. I had no idea. So it's absurdity. And on the outside of that, I don't want anyone murdered, whether it's Salman or God forbid if it's Sanjay Dutt or Jackie or Tabu or anyone. I don't want anyone murdered. Murder and violence begets violence. And violence and murder and death penalty is something I'm very against. For 17 years, I've been taking a stand against violence. And who have I been saving? All the girls and little boys that are brought from India to Miami, Florida, to be sold into sex trafficking, human trafficking rings. And the girls are, you will not believe, they're as young as 5 years old, who are going to be sold for $1,000 to human trafficking rings. For 17
So you've been doing a lot with your NGO to kind of stop that cycle of violence. In this particular case, too, you tell us, Sobi, that you even apologized previously. They didn't accept your apology. If what you've said in your post about meeting with Lawrence Bishnoi, about speaking to him happens, if it happens, would you also be looking to apologize on behalf of Salman Khan to kind of end all of the cycle of threats that he's been getting from the Bishnoi gang, from the Lawrence Bishnoi gang?
I'm going to say this now. मैं सलमान खान की तरफ से मैं माफी मांगती हूँ देवेंद्र भाई, क्योंकि उनको नहीं पता था कि ये जो है आपका भगवान है, और मैं जब इंडिया आऊंगी मैं आपके मंदिर में आऊंगी और मैं वहां पूजा करूंगी, और उस मंदिर में जब मैं आऊंगी तो पूजा के साथ साथ मैं एक डोनेशन भी दूंगी आपके मंदिर को. There, all said and done. As far as Lawrence is concerned, I want to have a talk with him the way I talk to the victims that I rescue. I want to get into his psyche, because there's something I saw in that man's eyes, based on my training, that I want to understand. Because a guy who has a degree, a law degree, and is trying to be famous and get TRP as a gangster seems to be very, very unintellectual and very unintelligent. But in the same realm, the guy has a law degree, so it doesn't add up. I want to understand, why are you not promoting and getting TRPs as a lawyer? You should be promoting yourself as a lawyer. And second thing, stop this murder nonsense rubbish. Stop murdering people. You believe in God. You have your own God. everyone has their own God. In the end, it's all the same, right? So, you know that Bishnois have 29 rules. Let's call them, it's called niyams in Hindi. And I know your Hindi is weak, so I'll tell you it's called niyams in Hindi. And let's call them call them commandments. So they have 29 commandments in there, and I've kept this so I remember because there's so much going on. Because I've had 90,000 people on my WhatsApp saying that they're Lawrence Bishnoi and they want to have a Zoom call with me, or they want to have a chat on Instagram with me. So I like, it's ridiculous. So
but are any of those threats? Are there any of those threats?
No, they're not threats. They're all saying, "मैं Lawrence Bishnoi हूँ, मुझसे बात करो. मैं बात करने को तैयार हूँ." So I know it's all rubbish. Lawrence Bishnoi does not have an Instagram account in Gujarat jail. For the love of God, that is absolute rubbish. So anyway, in their 10th niyam, which is, let's say, commandments, they have 29 in total. In their 10th, it says that forgiveness is something that they believe in significantly. So I appeal to Devinder Bhai, because he seems more logical than that gangster thug who's 33 years old and he's claiming to be a gangster, which makes him sound like an idiot, because if you have an LLB, why are you claiming to be a thug? You sound like a stupid fool. So I would like to approach Devinder Bhai and say कि आपके नियम में, आपके 10th नियम में लिखा हुआ है कि हम forgiveness में believe करते हैं. Now, I don't know how to say that. हम माफी देने में, forgive करने में believe करते हैं. Okay, my Hindi, your Hindi is better. All right, I agree. Okay, you win. So anyway, so that's one of their commandments or their rules, whatever you want to call them, like the Bible or whatever, you know, the Quran or the Gita or the whatever the holy book, any holy book has. So if they have that as a rule, and it's the 10th one out of the 29 one that they have, then why not forgive? Now let's apply logic here. Will killing Salman bring back the black buck deer? No. Will the fact that he did not know and had no idea that the Bishnoi tribe worshipped the black buck deer, doesn't that in itself make it a complete moot? M-O-O-T, moot?
So one of the demands put forth is that Salman should publicly apologize to the community. You've apologized on his behalf, and there are many who've come out and said, don't target Salman in this manner. Do you think he should do that? Do you think he should kind of meet their demand and publicly apologize?
Salman, I know Salman very well. Look, people, they say that they know Salman very well, but only people who have dated Salman and lived with him and have, I always say that rooms and walls hold stories. And if only rooms and walls could talk, and then they would know the real individual. So if let's say Amitabh Bachchan or someone says, I know Salman very well, you may know him in a different facet. And I don't talk to my mother the way I talk to my father. I don't talk to my brother the way I talk to my friend, my best friend. We all wear different masks. When you are a couple, you're very intimate as a couple. And that too from 1991 to 1999. So, and if you've lived with a person for 3 years, which I have, who would know him better? Amitabh Bachchan or Somy Ali? Think about it. Of course, the girlfriend would know him better. because the girlfriend is spending day and night with the guy. She's accompanying him to his shootings, his outdoors. She lives with him. She lives with his parents. She lives with his siblings. At the time, the siblings were not married when I was in my teenage years, and I'm talking about early 90s. So Arbaz and Sohail were living in the house. Arpita was a little baby girl. I used to babysit her all the time because they would go to the Panvel farmhouse and Arpita would stay back. She was about 6 or 7 years old, and I would babysit her when they would go to the Panvel farmhouse, and Salman would be busy shooting. So the point is that a person like this who has no knowledge of the fact that this was something that was worshipped, I mean, what rubbish is this? Is not the thought process of someone who carries a law degree. I mean, apply logic here, which is why I give more respect to Devinder Bhai than Lawrence, because Lawrence is portraying himself to be stupid and dumb and a gangster, whereas he's not.
But do you think, and you've told us about how close you were to Salman Khan, so do you think he should apologize publicly?
I don't think he should apologize. I do not. Why should he apologize for something he didn't know about? That's like me doing something inadvertently, unintentionally, and then being forced to apologize or I will be murdered. It makes no sense. And it's not about ego. And people, people have this, they say this reputation about Salman, he's very arrogant and he's very egotistical and all that stuff. I want to have nothing to do with Salman. I have nothing to do with his family. I never want to talk to Salman. The last time I talked to him was in 2012. I'm only protective of the fact that I do not want him murdered the same way I don't want, let's say, Tabu, God forbid, Ravina, or anyone murdered. Any actor, whether it's in Hollywood or in Bollywood or in Mollywood, I don't want anyone murdered. I'm anti-murder because violence is never the answer, and forgiveness is, and also judicial system. I believe in the judicial system very strongly, and there should be due process like in the United States of America, which we do with all the abusers that abuse the women in domestic violence cases, not human trafficking cases, but also human trafficking. The traffickers end up going to prison for years. But the point is, every person has a right to due process and an attorney. And how can you just make your own no man's land? What are we in the 1600s? We're in 2024. The guy's conducting Zoom calls from prison. I mean, are you kidding? What the heck is going on? How did that even happen? How did Lawrence Bishnoi, a guy who's convicted of murder and is clearly saying that I've killed a singer, apparently some singer he murdered, had murdered. I don't know who he is, some singer in...
Yeah, his gang is involved in the killing of Sidhu Moosewala as well. So
yeah, and then now there's something, now it's become big. Recently, Justin Trudeau also got involved, and he made allegations against the Indian government for killing someone named, I believe his name is Vijar.
Yes.
Someone named Vijar, I think, that was killed. And Justin Trudeau said that the Indian government I think it's called RNWA. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But it's getting very, very big, and somehow everything leads to the Bishnois. And I know that when I see Devinder Bhai and I see him shake hands with Prime Minister Modi, that there's a lot of respect in that man. And that's the man I would like to have a conversation with before I converse with someone like a gangster thug who's behaving like a 15, 17-year-old teenager rather than a lawyer that he is. I would like to have a conversation with Devender Bhai and give him the respect and have a conversation with him as an intellectual woman who's educated before I talk to Lawrence. And why should Salman apologize when he hasn't done anything wrong? Do you think, again, I reiterate, hundreds and thousands of people, that area, I believe that area is got to be about 80, 90 acres. This is an educated guess. I have no idea. Do you think that only Salman is going hunting there? I mean, think about it. Do you think
you raised an important question? I think it's very pertinent to also talk about why Salman is being targeted in the manner he is. So you've, of course, opened this up to a much wider conversation, which, of course, we will carry forward here on India Today as well. So we thank you very much for joining us here, taking the time out and explaining to us what your post was all about. Thank you very much.